December 1, 2012. Dow Jones, Democrats, Republicans, taxes. There are many, many things that are going on. Price volatility in the calendar month starting 12/3, which will be Monday, is that for the month of December, we have had a rally from a very deep daily oversold condition in the Dow. And we're covering the Dow because we see that December, before the actual trading day starts, is that the volatility, the price volatility in the index, the Dow, and we'll cover the other ones, is going to increase substantially. The Republican Party was humiliated by the Democrats. The deals that people were willing to talk about and make negotiations on have come to a stalemate. The market is in denial. The market is in denial of the realities here. The complacency is at very high levels. Price volatility is going to increase. The bull side is everybody wants a resolution. We're not going to get it right away. Somebody's going to have to give in. What we have heard is that the Republicans came to the plate. They were willing to make adjustments on how to raise revenues and do certain things, but they do know, by using some accounting firms, some of the biggest ones in the world, I think one of them is Ernst & Young, and the other one is the CBOE, is that basically we're going to put a threshold against small businesses. The consequences forward-looking in calendar 2013 for Q1 and Q2 is that if we go over the fiscal cliff, it's going to be a period of time, and stocks eventually would sell down, and eventually, if the mess ever gets taken care of during that time that's coming, is that yes, things would be on sale into calendar 2013, and the reason why they would be on sale is because the markets would sell down very hard. The recipe that they want 1.6 trillion in tax hikes, there was no talk whatsoever. The Republicans want to reduce this deficit that we have. And when Mr. Obama was on the campaign, well, we have to make sacrifices. We have to cut the entitlement programs. We have to, bring our fiscal cliff down, the long-term deficit down. But you know what, folks? They're totally going the opposite way. They want to actually add more stimulus and spending. The Republican Party is not going to go for that because that doesn't solve the problem. In order to solve the problem, there has to be some cuts, and there's going to have to be a little bit less growth for a while, but in the longer term, it would be exactly what would work for this economy. The thing that I'm going to tell people relative is that the Dow Jones has rallied up. It came to the 100-week moving average. The weekly sell signals are not in play yet, but once they start, the selling will increase. We are updating our network to let people know that if you didn't sell as we go up in the volatility, you have a chance in this calendar month to lighten up. Capital gains tax, 15%. Let's say it goes up to the higher end of the base of where these Democrats are going. That's 40 to 42%. We've had over 183 companies within the exchanges, publicly traded companies, come out and raise their dividends. And they're doing that because of the consequences. They would much rather raise those dividends and give that instead of giving the money to the government. They would much rather increase their dividends now. And we've seen in a very short time period of where all the CEOs of these publicly traded companies are doing that. There's a list of stocks that have increased that big dividend because they would rather give it out now. And if you own them, you might want to think about, when these things don't go right, is, do I want to take my profits now while it's at 15%? Or do I want to try to wait it out and believe what the government may do, but they end up going up to the top end of 40 to 42%? And you're paying that tax on your capital gain. That's potentially in the cards. It's very real. What I will tell people worldwide, I don't care, money managers, hedge fund managers, mom and pop investors, everybody, is that the potential volatility that is going to come out of the White House is very real. There is a stalemate. As far as I'm concerned, it was very humiliating what the Democrats came back to the Republicans. And it was. Every rally that gets oversold gets a pop in November and December. And we have pretty much played the course. When you take a look here at the Dow, we were extremely short-term. When the Dow came all the way down here after the election, we hit a bottom and we were totally, and once again, this is how volatility works. In the short term, we had a major support level on this Dow. Here, let me draw it. It was right here. It was right down here. We do not have a daily buy signal yet, and this is volatility on the daily chart. The wall of resistances will remain up here. When you go into bear trends versus the long-term 2012 bull run that we've had at 5.5-year highs, and we had a correction here, over here in this period, we had a correction here. Since the election, they sold it down. Now they've rallied it back up. That's how markets work. I will tell you that the markets themselves are in denial. And the denial thing is that the pent-up hope for a resolution, that would be the right one. That would be pro-growth. Everybody wants that. Who wouldn't want that? But you know what? It's not going in that direction. And I will tell you that the price volatility for the calendar month and going into January, if things are not done correctly and we go over it, so basically here's how I see it. The Republican Party needs to call their bluff. Does Obama want to start January out on his second term going into another recession? Because everything that's being done mathematically would put us back into a mild recession for a few months. How far that would go is yet to be determined. We will tell you, though, that the volatility for the calendar month of December, before December 3rd gets here on Monday, is going to really increase. The headlines, the deadlines between these two parties of kicking the can down the road, and all of this, when you go back to TARP, they did it in December. They They came out with it. Every time we've had these little, in fact, one time they went right up to the almost a calendar in a month of December before they came out with an announcement. Now they've all said that what they're going to do, and each party once again is blaming each other. Look, I don't see where the Republicans have a bad analysis at all. They're talking about increasing spending when they said they were going to make those cuts that this economy needs to grow. And that's the entitlements. They want to add more spending. They said they were going to make the painful cuts. That's what they ran their election on. They're not doing it. There's no talk about it at all. So, if you're a bull, I'm telling you now that as we go up here in the Dow and things don't work right, what everyone would be expecting is that great big Santa Claus rally. Well, we already had 10 days of it. And we're going into this month, which is historically the second strongest month of the year in 12 months is the month of December. Both November and December are great months in the market. And then you like to rally up going into calendar 2013 to about March. We see the opposite happening. Because once these things are done, and the Obama health care plan is to raise all the taxes. So, we were going to raise it, but 1.6 trillion? Look, we're going down the European model. We're not going down pro-growth. And I'm going to warn everyone that volatility is going to increase in December. Things don't go the right way. These markets are going to sell off and come back here at 12,500, test that low. Possibly, not possibly, it will break this last low. We were deeply oversold. There's your Thanksgiving rally. We said that you had to go back up. Now, when I moved it from the daily over here to the weekly, I got the 10 week is going to be resistance and the 20 week. This is your 10-day move off of the 100-week moving average on the Dow. And the Dow neckline is going to be right there. And we're approaching the wall of resistances. This is where we broke down right after the election. We sold down and we've come back and we've rallied back up. But remember that the rally was done on anemic volume during this whole period. And what we're saying is that in the short term, there's going to be increased price volatility. What we're saying is this. Headline after headline is when in doubt, get out. And what does that mean? If you got gains, you sell into the rallies. You don't sit around and rely on the government doing the right thing. Right now, it's a stalemate. The Republican House leader there, Mr. Bonner, has already declared a stalemate in this thing because it went from where something might get done and then they came back with totally off the wall, ridiculous proposals. And the Republican Party, as far as I'm concerned, needs to call their bluff. Because does Mr. Obama want to start out his second term in January going into a recession? I don't think so. I wouldn't. So the thing about it is that's potentially where we're going. And until the resolution or something is going to work the right way, I would sell into the rally. That's what I would do. Because I'm telling you before December starts that volatility and what the headlines are going to be coming out with is anything that's not favorable, and the longer that we keep going, they like to come out with deals right at the last end. That's been their pattern for the last 4 years. Whether it was TARP or any other major decisions, they couldn't even, back in the summer when we got downgraded, they couldn't even come to a decision then. And then the super committee and kicking the can down the road, in their language, is once again, we're right back where we started. And we got 4 years coming up. But the most important thing is how these hedge fund managers, mutual fund managers, And institutions that are in Wall Street can do a total about face and just start selling, and these markets can go a lot lower. We've had the attempted rally in anticipation that these folks are going to do the right thing on Capitol Hill. Not happening. Not right now. And I will tell you that if they continue to go further and further in the month of December without a plan going into January, we're going to come right back over here and break this last low or test the low. And you see, what will end up happening is there could be another tax selling event, and there can be, and a huge one at that. So, once again, for the calendar month of December, before the fact, not after the fact, is that the potential lows come back into play and actually go lower. And that the month of January of 2013 could be a very bear side January month. Now, on the flip side of that is that if they were to get the perfect world, the things that would work, and everyone would get on board, well, then we could have a big rally and everything could work well. But you know what? We can't count on that, and we're not going to. So far, the history, the way people on Capitol Hill work, is kicking it all the way down to the last minute and then coming out with the chintzy, cheesy deal that is really not going to solve the problem. We would see more selling. Look, the majority of the people out here in this country want the right thing. But I will tell you that disappointment and that sentiment can grow. I'm saying that the market is very complacent. I'm saying that the market at this level going into December is into denial. And that rallies from big corrections that we had is to sell into resistance, and that is the Dow Jones. And I will tell people I will be doing the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, because the thing about it is the whole upside movement here in the last 10 days, I'm above the 50-week. I got the 10-week crossing over here. These are going to be the wall of resistances. But the wall of resistances is going to be a wall of resistances, because it's not going to drive the big money bull traders off of the sideline. Not in this month of December. They've got to have a reason to buy in December to carry through January, February, March of calendar 2013. Listen, corporate earnings, the Obama health care, the burden that the small business community would freeze on the hiring, their tax consequences that people don't see. They never tell you all of these other hidden taxes that affect small businesses. You only hear on the outer part that how great it is and what their argument is. Look, the reason why they're doing this big tax increase right now, which I believe is the wrong thing, is because they got to pay for what? They got to pay for that Obama health care. That takes hold in January 2014. The thing about it is people are going to react way ahead of time. And we could get a frozen economy because capital investments are not coming back on our shore the way they should. Number one, where is that capital investment and innovation going to take place under these circumstances? It will not.